So last time we spoke about the essence of exile and the way to redemption, and we said that the Zohar analyzes the pasuk that says that the oppression of Bnei Israel, the slave work of Bnei Israel, was what they call avodah kasha, chomer levenim. And we spoke yesterday about what is so-called avodah kasha, hard work. Today we're going to talk about chomer. Chomer is, in plain Hebrew, means substance, material, substance, and so on and so forth. Also, it's the same word, the same or similar root of chamur. Chamur svar, like being too serious, too severe. And I'm not talking about, this is not an encouragement of somebody to be not serious about things or an encouragement to become mediocre, but rather this is about something else completely different. Being, like, in a way, too strict and too serious about life is an obstacle. And many times when we call, what people call chumorot, and not necessarily for halacha, is when you do more than what you need to do. There's always the exception, always the expectation of doing more than what you have to do. But that has to be with a certain mindset. You do more than what you are asked because of a different mindset. Most people do more than they were supposed to, but for the wrong reason. And by the way, that's true also regarding to halacha. That's why it's very good and very, very much so recommended to know what the din is, to learn the sources, to be able to understand where it's coming from. Start with, first of all, knowing what you need to do, then you do extra. However, it's not only in halacha, as I said to you before, it also applies to many other fields to life, or basically to any other aspect of life. Most people, if you ask them, they're going to tell you life is very, very severe, is not easy, life is difficult, and just thinking that right away makes you very lethargic and heavy. It's like you don't want to do anything. And of course, when somebody offers you to do nothing, you grab it with two hands. And that's why many people would rather, in certain aspects of society, would rather be at home, get a paycheck from Social Security, than to go out and work hard and making their own money. They would rather sit like this because their perception about life is wrong to begin with. So, for example, many times when you go to work, you put yourself in a state of mind of hardship and suffering. Most people don't go to work looking forward to go to work. I like what I do. I'm looking forward. I saw a small documentary about the guy from where was it? From Wild Turkey. What is it? Russell. The Russell family. He said the guy is like 80-something years old. He said, I never worked a day in my life. Because he just loves what he's doing. It's not work. So having this mindset is a tremendous obstacle. Most people feel that if they came home and they have the attitude of, oh my goodness, it was such a difficult day today, and so on and so forth. I'm really poor. I mean, poor me. I suffered so much today. I got some abuse from my boss. If you came like this, it means that you paid your dues. If you didn't come with this attitude, something is wrong with you. It looks like you didn't work. You feel that you did something only if you kill yourself over this. And there's no need to really kill yourself. Again, that does not mean that you have to be very superficial about what you do. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a mindset of a mental state of being. If God forbid you would say to somebody, oh, I love what I'm doing. I love to go to work. People look at you like, huh? In most people's mind, work is not something you're supposed to be enjoying. Of course, there's also the aspect of going to work for the wrong reasons or letting other people tell you what you should go to work for. But work to most of us doesn't seem like something you're supposed to be enjoying. And of course, that's an absurd. Many people, and I'll tell you this, are looking almost intentionally to make their life difficult because they feel that life's supposed to be difficult, so therefore they're looking to make their life difficult. They're looking to complicate their life, to make their life difficult, and they really attribute the sensation of difficulty that they have in life to the fact that they are living. In other words, if life is not difficult for you, it means you're doing something wrong. Life is not life. Life's supposed to be hard, and therefore if I'm making my life difficult, that means that I'm doing okay. Or, you know what I'm saying. People tend to always complicate their lives like that, to have turmoils. It's almost like a third grade, Spanish or Turkish melodrama, like that they watch, general hospitals with extra steroids, something like this. Everything is a catastrophe. Everybody's conniving, manipulating. That's what it's all about. If you don't do that, something is wrong with you. So in a way, when you do so, it means that there is a little person or little attribute in your head that is like the warden of the prison that tells you all the time how difficult life is. For example, if you're going to dare to say raising children, but raising children from joy and happiness, no, raising children should be difficult. Your kid's supposed to drag you out of bed in the morning. Your kid's supposed to make it hard for you, supposed to keep you up awake. Recently somebody said to me, oh, my kids wake me up every day, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, they drag me downstairs to play. I said to him, well, that's great. He said to me, what great about it? I'm tired. I said, well, you should be so lucky the kids love you, they want to play with you. Wait until the kids get older, you beg them to play with them, they're not going to be there. If you know what I'm talking, if I know you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to the song. I told you this a gazillion times. Cats in the cradle. You push your kids today, they'll push you tomorrow. If your kids are not looking for you, you're doing something wrong. But you should understand that raising kids through sensation of difficulty, that doesn't help you raise your kids. Or, for example, to get along with your spouse without any major hurdles, no, that's impossible. We gotta have some drama in our lives, otherwise what are we gonna tell our friends, what are we gonna, how are we going to feel that we are alive? That's impossible. It has to be difficult, right? Everybody has shlom bayit issues and so on. That's a very exile way of thinking. That's a way of thinking of a person who is very passive about their lives, and not a person who is actually taking control over their own lives and saying, oh, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to do, and I'm doing it, and I'm actually enjoying doing this without giving an account to everybody or justification what you don't do. That's what I like to do. What is your business? People will tell you, oh, don't do that because you can make money out of this. You have to go somewhere else, but I like to do it. And I know what's involved with it, and I still want to do it. If imagine what would have happened, and I'm sure somebody told Picasso at the time, what, you're going to be a painter? Are you crazy? They're going to make a penny out of it. You're going to be poor. Yes, he was poor, but he was Picasso. Ended up to be Picasso. If Picasso would not have had this attitude, maybe it will be some clerk in a bank or something like this, a very miserable person, and the world would not have Picasso. And so is to anybody else who reach great, and I do believe that people have the ability to reach greatness, first of all, because they were willing to do what they wanted. They're willing to get in touch with themselves. Or that's what we want, that's what we like, and whatever it is, I'm willing to pay the price. But I cannot pay the price of living miserable life or doing something that I don't like. And we need to understand that. And that's something that we are captive by, this exile way of thinking, this slave mentality that is inherently deep down, exists in all of us. We need to get away from this. This is not a heavenly decree that life has to be difficult. That the situation where things become difficult to us and hardship and so on and so forth is because of us, because we allowed this to happen, and because that we allowed society to dictate to us what is right and what is wrong to do. If, for example, a person wants to be, I don't know what's a person wants to be a truck driver. Is it hard to be a truck driver? Yes, it's a very difficult, hard, lonely job if you don't like what you're doing. But I know somebody who was a lawyer, and he hated becoming a lawyer. And one day he said, guess what? I want to be a truck driver. And he went, and he's the happiest guy around. But you need to know who you are. That's being your own master of your own life. Being a slave is everybody else tells you what to do. And that way of thinking, that pattern of thinking is very, it's something that we allowed society to dictate to us, that this world, it has to be full of hurdles and obstacles and difficulties, and it's one long frustrating process from the cradle to the grave. That's what it all has to be, and I'll tell you, it does not have to be. However, we all need to know and to understand that it all within our ability to change that reality, because that reality is something that we had allowed to create for ourselves. You could break it. It's very important for everybody to go back to things that give you a certain sensation of feeling something good. Even to the time of when you were a child, when you enjoyed to do things and you were allowed to do things. As a child, you say, leave him alone, he's a child, he can do that. But yet you had tremendous joy in your life as a child. So you felt this before. You can go back to that. You can go back to the fact that when you were a child, you were looking forward to get up every morning, to run around and play and to do what you wanted to do. Show me how many people, maybe you should do a survey around you. How many people do you know, they get up in the morning saying, man, I can't wait to jump out of bed. I'm looking forward for another day. Remember the times you were all in like elementary school, like maybe even like, I don't know, 3rd grade, 5th grade, maybe even 6th grade. 6th grade is like kind of a cutoff line, because then all of a sudden you start to become socially aware of society and your place in society. So you start playing all this like king of a class, queen of the class, and so on and so forth. Until that point, life was good. Who said it has to be like that? You decided. In other words, many people who are still young in terms of chronological age are actually extremely old. You could have people who are 20, 25 years old and have a mentality of a 90-year-old person. They can't carry themselves. And yet I know people who are older than me, and still they are doing everything with gusto, with koach, with excitement, looking forward for another day, to create, to do all these wonderful things, on and on, to get up for another day, to paint. I know this woman, she's a painter. She has severe arthritis. It's very hard for her to hold a pencil. And yet every morning she can't wait to get out in the morning to do another stroke of the brush, to do something. That's a different way of living. Looking forward for another day. When you look forward for another day, there's a great chance you're going to have that day. When you're not looking forward to live, the upcoming day, you're going to do in a way whatever you can to eliminate that, whatever you can. And sometimes you will even do like a self-destructive mode, that your life subconsciously will end up faster because you think you're going to a better place and you just want to finish with this misery in this place. Also, this attitude exists in the world of mitzvot. When we do mitzvot, the common assumption is that, and many religious people really believe that only, again, if you kill yourself over the altar of doing a certain mitzvah, they fulfill their obligation. That's it. If I killed myself over this, that's how I'm fulfilling the obligation. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to make a little V under your name. And that's not the case. How do I know it's not the case? Because it says, Ivdu et Hashem besimcha. You have to do avodat Hashem besimcha, rejoicing on that. But if you want to kill yourself, in other words, when you make the mitzvah difficult for you, only then you do that. That's not besimcha, rabotai. So for example, I think the best example would be getting yourself ready for Pesach. When you clean up for Pesach, the halacha says that before the Chag, you have to take what? You have to take the chametz from your house. You have to clean up and so on and so forth, right? But what is in reality in what we have today? We take it to such an extreme that if I'll do the halacha, if I clean my house according to halacha, and I don't come to the Pesach table, to the Seder table, completely exhausted that I need to put matchsticks in my eyes so my eyes will not close, it means I didn't clean well. Who said that you have to feel that? You have to clean well according to halacha, you're not cleaning for your neighbors. You're cleaning for chametz. We always say it, I'm cleaning for chametz, it's not spring cleaning, cleaning for chametz. So, and you don't want to, of course, reach a certain point that people eat with the face to the wall, with the bag like this, and God forbid something would fall. Chachamim would look at you, they would laugh at you. Who said that preparing for Pesach or cleaning up for Pesach has to be one long misery of absolutely slave labor that you need to do? No, you have to clean for chametz. If you don't know how to do so it's perfectly fine. Sit down and learn the halachot. Don't start a month before Pesach. Start 3 months before Pesach of all the halachot of biur chametz and cleaning up for chametz, and you'll see that I'm not saying it's a walk in the park, but look at it differently. I'm looking forward to clean for Pesach. When my girls, clean for Pesach and they don't allow me to go there, I'm upset because I like to clean for Pesach. I like to take part of that. I see us cleaning for Pesach an opportunity to really apply it to cleaning my own self. My ability to willingness to go to clean up the chametz would allow me to provide me with the tools to go and clean up my own internal chametz. It's not a burden. You just need to be organized. You need to know what to do. You make a list and you go one by one. So it's not like this. Another, of course, another way to look at chomer is, of course, being materialistic. Chomer, we said we show substance or chomer, and in our time, of course, and it's very interesting because the Torah says that you're going to come and you're going to worship gods of wood and silver and gold. And I say it, this is materialism that they became our gods. We worship our houses. We don't understand a house is just to give us shelter. It's not a mausoleum. Many people regard their houses as mausoleums. They cherish their houses as temples. Which is absolutely, absolutely wrong. And the fact that you have that you have X amount of money in the bank does not give you a meaning in life. Money is just means; it's not a goal. The amount of money that you make is, and you have to ask yourself, what do I need all this money for? What am I working? What am I killing myself? It's like a person that will tell you, you're taking your life too easily. Something is wrong with you, and the answer would be, 1 second. Why are you going to work? So you can pay your bills, so you can pay for your house, so you can, and everything is like you're working, and everything that you're working for, your money goes somewhere else. And we need to understand that, that the chasing after materialistic pleasures and materialistic ideals is very bad. That's something that we lost the battle. We all lost the battle. And nobody talks about morals anymore. Nobody talks about meaning, because nobody wants to have a meaning in life. In a way, that big matrix that call it dark government, whatever it is, doesn't want you to dwell into the meaning of life. By taking away your meaning of life, you're becoming a slave to the system. Society wants you to work hard. Society wants you to make money. Why? So they can tax you. How about we'll end up poverty? I'm going to have something to tell you, something, poverty is something that is deliberately kept. We need to have poor people, according to those thinkers, those what we call politicians and so on and so forth. They want to make sure that they're always going to be poor people dependent on them. Because we can end up poverty by sending everybody to work, and they will be free. But then we don't have control over them. So therefore, what society does, what politicians do, they're going to make sure that certain people are always going to be poor, and the more, the better for them. And how do you do so? First of all, take away the meaning of life. Don't let them think about what's the meaning of life. Why am I here? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Give them materialistic fixes like heroin. Give them expensive sneakers. Do whatever you want. All kind of stuff like this. And then they'll take away something in return. Just like Yosef slowly made the people in Egypt being his slaves. By how? Give me food, pay for the food, I'll give you food, pay for the food, you ran out of money, not a problem, give me your house, then become my slaves. That's exactly what's happening. That's exactly what's happening. One needs to understand that we became all slave to the concept of happiness dependent on how much money you have. In Hebrew we call osher, aleph, vav, shin, resh, happiness. And osher, wealth, sounds the same, right? And we say the same, osher and osher. We think that wealth is happiness, and not necessarily so. In other words, if I don't have the most expensive house on the block, the fanciest, shiniest house in the house, if I don't drive the fanciest car around, or I don't have the best, something that I saw in commercials, some, brand name, whatever, clothing or soap or shampoo or shaving cream or whatever it is that I have, if I don't have the brand name, means it's not good. I only made it, I only feel alive if I'm wearing a certain brand name I have my bag and my shirts and so on and so forth, not even realizing that I'm becoming a walking, billboard commercial for all these people. What do I need the name of the designer here? I don't care about the designer. And what difference does it make? If you look, for example, at cars, most of the cars, are made like, they're mass produced in one place. And you just put an emblem on them. Now it makes it expensive. And so it's almost to everything else. So many different things that we have are all mass produced. It's just different names of when somebody did it. I saw one time a guy took a guitar. So he took a guitar that cost about, $6,000. Without mentioning name, a very fancy, high, top of the line electric guitar. And then he took another guitar and he simply cut it into pieces and destroyed the wood of the guitar. He just put good pickers on the guitar. I'm telling you the truth, you couldn't tell the difference between the two. It's just the name on top, that's what makes the difference. And we became slaves of that because it's the recognition that we have. If I'm wearing a certain big brand name here, it means that I'm making it. Or the lady is walking with a certain bag that people are selling used bag for like thousands of dollars, used bags. Why? Because it only has the name there. Or if I have a watch that cost me $15,000, right? It's because I wear the watch. Meanwhile, this watch does a much better job. It doesn't miss time. It's an atomic watch. Changes the time from daylight saving or not. And what do I need this $15,000 watch for? How much did I have to work for it? How many years you had to work, or how many months you had to work to save $15,000 in cash to be able to buy a watch that doesn't add to your life whatsoever? It's an illusion. Why do you need a gold this watch and the other watch and The gear is dipped in saliva of horses from Tajikistan. What do you care? It's like nonsense. But that's what society tells you. Depend on that. Take away your meaning, and your meaning will be in your possessions, in the chumriyut, in materialism. And that's something that is very bad. And we don't teach our children different. In other words, it's all about our life. And when you see in commercials, and when you fall for those commercials, right? It's all creating a world of emptiness. It's an empty world. It's an illusion world that is completely empty. There's no substance to it. And it's all about money and external image. And in a way, we are all taking part in a race to nowhere. And that's exactly when we talk about Paro also mishon parua means lack of order, right? He's sitting down, Paro is sitting down and he's laughing at all of us. How we, especially us Jews, that we receive the Torah is supposed to, we're supposed to allow the Torah to help us get meaning in our lives and to look at what is important in our life. Unless we're going to be able to do so, because it says, Eino ben chorin ela mi sheosek b'Torah. A person that learns Torah should know better. Should know better that if you're driving this kind of a car is no different than the other kind of car. Both cars will take you from point A to point B. It's an illusion. It's all fake. Absolutely fake. And there are a lot of cars that people who spend $80,000, $100,000 on, they're absolutely garbage. Don't need it. It's an illusion. People sell you illusion. When people sell you illusion, they sell you absolutely nothing and you're paying for it. So I would tell you, regroup yourself. You want to be free. Avoid that chomriyut, that empty life of materialistic chase. Go back to basic. Go back to substance. Look for your meaning. So we already covered avodah kasha, and now we covered chomer. Tomorrow, Bezrat Hashem, we're going to cover up the levinim. What does exactly means those bricks that made us all slaves in Egypt? So we covered 2/3 of being a slave and what does it mean to be a slave. And if you look at it very carefully, most of us are still slaves, and that's something that has to stop. If you don't stop it now, you're never going to be free. You're never going to redeem. It's a lost case. So Abatai, take a deep look at yourself, regroup, make a list of things that are important to you. Make things that would define you as a human being, not as an achiever of absolutely, fantasies. So again, if you want to give us a call, you could, or we would love to hear from you at rabbigaon@gmail.com. You can go to the Yeshiva, and there is a PayPal account. You can help us out with that, which is a tremendous thing. You can go to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and don't forget, please, to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you all down the trail.